Did you know that most people who suddenly receive wealth lose it within just a few years? It goes back to the old saying that says if you want to know what someone's character is, truly give them a bunch of money. But here's the good news. By following biblical wisdom and proven financial principles, you can be different. I can be different. I'm going to share 3 essential habits that will help you steward your newfound wealth and affluence with wisdom and purpose. And I think that's what we want after all. We know that this life is temporary and fleeting. The Bible describes our life as but a vapor. It doesn't last very long. As a financial advisor, I've helped many people navigate sudden wealth. Since 2000, I've seen both success stories and failures. Today, what I'm going to do is talk about 3 biblical principles. And we don't always cover biblical principles on these videos, but I am today. And these ultimately will transform how you manage your newfound affluence. Number 1, we're going to talk about understanding true ownership and stewardship. Number 2, we'll be creating a purposeful plan for your wealth. And then number 3 is going to be building lasting impact through generosity. So first, let's talk about the ownership issue. In Psalm chapter 24, verse 1, teaches us that the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. So this is a profound truth that really changes everything about how we manage money. If it belongs to God, not us, we can talk to our, quote, master to figure out what he wants us to do as stewards of his money. And instead of asking what to do with my money, then I can start asking what to do with his money and his resources. And here's how we can put this into practice. Place your wealth in secure accounts while you develop a plan. And then you want to assemble a team of advisors. That would include a financial planner, a tax expert, and an estate planning attorney, maybe an insurance specialist if the financial planner can't help you with that. And then you want to pray for wisdom and guidance in your financial decisions. Second, I think what you want to do is create a purposeful plan. Proverbs 21 verse 5 tells us that the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. And it does use the word diligent there. It does take effort to create a plan. You do have to get in your car and go drive to the financial planner or get on a Zoom meeting and talk to the financial planner and put the plan together, and talk with your spouse and maybe even your children and involve them in creating your plan as well. You also, in my opinion, you're going to want to set aside an emergency fund. It's going to cover 6 to 12 months of your living expenses. You're going to go into number 2, you're going to want to create a diversified investment strategy that aligns with your values. This is the greatest way to preserve and grow what you have, is to truly diversify it. And I'm not talking about putting your money even in different stocks. Global stocks, international stocks, and U.S. stocks have a very high correlation. And most of the sectors have a high correlation, with the exception of utility stocks. You can also use gold, you can use Bitcoin and bonds to give you true asset class diversification. And so then you can throw in real estate, and that gives you, depending on how much wealth you've gained, that gives you pretty good diversification. If you've got your money in bonds, both foreign and U.S., stocks, both foreign and U.S., that's 2 asset classes. Gold's 3 asset classes. Cryptocurrency in the form of Bitcoin, you could use ticker symbol IBIT. And then you could go into utility stocks, that's 5. And then real estate, that's 6. That's pretty darn good. Really, the only one that doesn't have tremendous growth potential is the bonds. So, and then also, if you receive a tremendous amount of wealth, you could also buy small companies. And that gets into a whole nother discussion. You also want to develop a budget. As I've said here before, even Elon Musk has a budget. He has to spend less than what he makes. So budgets are not just for poor people, they are for wise people. Finally, you want to create a tax-efficient strategy for preserving your wealth. Taxes truly can erode your wealth. They can also be legally avoided if you make the right decisions. And that's one of the things, of course, that we help our clients do, is to avoid those taxes on that wealth so that they can pass it on to God's kingdom and their family and the things that they want to use right now while they're alive. Finally, we're going to talk about building a lasting impact. Acts 20 verse 35 reminds us that it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. Jesus said he came to serve, not be served. So here we are once again, Jesus' upside down kingdom. The last is first, the first is last. Humility wins. Pride, arrogance, ego, building a name for yourself loses eternally. It loses in God's kingdom here on earth. And once again, that's what happens as we look at this generosity principle. We always talk about, oh, what a blessing you are to me when we receive gifts. But what about if I focus on myself and being a blessing to others? How about that? How about them apples, as Matt Damon would say? This principle of giving should guide our approach to wealth, and it really can make a difference. You want to start, I think, with tithing as a foundation, and you also want to, number two, create a giving strategy that supports causes that are close to your heart. I don't know what those are. Widows, orphans, your church, just don't know. But certainly poor people, whatever it may be, that you feel like Jesus Christ himself, who is God, let's remember, is directing you to give his money to it, then that's what you should do. You want to consider establishing a charitable foundation if it gets up into the millions, or a donor-advised fund. And then you also, and most any financial planner that deals with high net worth individuals should be able to help you to do that. And then you can plan for your legacy as well, for future generations and kingdom work. How much of this do you want to leave for your children, and how much of it do you want to leave to God's work? And that's a big question. And I also recommend you can do some YouTube searches and kind of read what Randy Alcorn wrote on that. He wrote some very challenging beliefs on it. But you also, most importantly, you want to use a Bible and what God says about leaving an inheritance and when it's quickly gained. I always like to tell people that, when we're giving money to our children, they earn it first, they get the money second. That's kind of how God set it up. Primarily, of course, he does give us, sometimes he does, a lot of times show us grace and mercy. But if they go and they get the college degree, then we pay off their student debt. If they get the master's degree, then we pay off that student debt, if we have the money to do that. They perform first. If they get the job, then we might buy them a used older car to get themselves to work. We help them out in ways that we don't want to enable them. And this requires a tremendous amount of prayer and talking to our friends and family. But the Bible also says iron sharpens iron as one person sharpens another. That's Proverbs 27, verse 17. So ultimately, managing sudden wealth is a tremendous responsibility, but you don't have to figure it out alone. Praise God. If you'd like personalized guidance on stewarding your resources God's way, click on the link below to schedule and apply for a free sudden wealth planning session with me. We can talk about it together very openly, and I'll give you some tips on what I've seen be successful in our clients' lives. And don't forget to subscribe for more financial wisdom on this channel, Sudden Wealth Stewardship. Hit the notification bell and stay updated with future videos. Also, go ahead and give me any comments on what you think about this video, and we'll see you again real soon.